Hi everybody, this is a video about biofilm disrupting nasal sprays. Just before I jump into the crux of the video, if you don't mind taking a quick second to either like or share or subscribe or post a quick comment on the video, I'd really appreciate it. So thanks in advance for taking a second to do that. And as per usual, nothing I'm saying should be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. If you need medical advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. So somebody posted a comment on one of my other videos about biofilms, just asking if there were biofilm disrupting nasal sprays that I recommend. As mentioned a second ago, I don't recommend anything over social media, but can talk a little bit about what I do recommend for my patients. So there aren't, to my knowledge, there aren't a ton of options for biofilm disrupting nasal sprays. As I mentioned in other videos, there are phase 1 and phase 2 biofilms. So phase 1 biofilms are quite easy to get rid of. Phase 2 biofilms are quite a bit more tenacious. I virtually always recommend phase 2 biofilm disruptors because they also tackle the phase 1 biofilms as well, and might as well just kind of go right for the really nitty-gritty stuff. So in terms of phase 2 biofilm disruptors that we can actually get in a nasal spray, the only two that I'm aware of are EDTA, which is a chelating agent for heavy metals, also breaks down phase 2 biofilms, and then also silver. I posted a video maybe within the last week or two about silver hydrosol, and so feel free to check that out if you want a little more information about that. But I have the most experience using the EDTA biofilm disruptors, although I do have a growing amount of experience about using silver as well. The thing we have to be mindful with when it comes to biofilm disruptors, whether it's phase 1 or phase 2, but certainly more so with phase 2 disruptors, is that as we start breaking down those biofilms, then whatever is living in those biofilms, whether it's mold or yeast or some crazy bacteria, marcons, whatever it happens to be, there's some clinical evidence and maybe a bit of laboratory or research evidence that other microbes, like maybe the Lyme disease causing bacteria, can hide out in biofilms in the sinuses potentially. As we start breaking down their hiding places, they have no place to hide, so they're just going to come out, and you can imagine they're not going to come out and just say, hey, let's have a nice cup of tea. They're going to come out, two fists flying and, attacking basically. So it's really important, in my opinion and in my experience, to work with something to, as I like to say, fumigate the sinuses first, so kill things off that are out in the open, and then when everything's killed off out in the open, we bring in the biofilm disruptor. As we start working with the biofilm disruptor, when I send instructions to my patients, good old electronic medical records, everything's electronic nowadays, at least in my practice. So sending those recommendations, emailing them to the patient, saying, here's the biofilm disrupting spray instructions, but if you start feeling worse for wear, stop the biofilm disruptor right away and switch back to a fumigating nasal spray, which is usually an essential oil-based nasal spray. I've had several videos about that before, so please check the archives for that if you're so inclined. So the idea is that we're breaking down hiding places. Oh, too many critters coming out into the open. Stop breaking down more hiding places because we don't want to bring even more critters out into the open. Let's fumigate, kill off whatever came out into the open. Now let's start breaking down the hiding places again. And so we kind of pulse it back and forth. And for some patients, they don't need to do that. They go on their biofilm disruptor nasal spray and everything just goes smoothly. In many cases, they do need to pull back after a while. And one thing that will trip people up sometimes, because oftentimes I think folks will think, oh, I'm like on this spray, it's been like a few days, a week, like it looks like I'm tolerating this really well. Well, they might not actually get bamboozled by too many microbes being released out into the open until they've been on that biofilm disrupting nasal spray for sometimes 2, 3, 4 weeks. I mean, it's not common to see it beyond the 2-week mark, but it does happen sometimes. So my instructions are really explicit to my patients, saying if you start to feel worse for wear at any point in time, stop your biofilm disrupting nasal spray, go back to fumigation, resume biofilm disrupting nasal spray when things have settled back down again. So I hope that answered the question. If anybody has any questions or comments about this video or on this topic, please feel free to post in the comment section below, and I will leave it there for now.